Amari Latimer might be the biggest target left in the 2026 class that the Badgers are trying to land. I'm going to tell you why next. Locked On Badgers, let's go.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, Badger fans? Welcome to Locked On Badgers, your team every single day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for being an everydayer and making this one of your first listens. Thank you for spending time with us. Today's episode brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Today's episode, we were talking about Amari Latimer, huge 2026 target for the Wisconsin Badgers. Power ranking the Wisconsin Badgers basketball roster and which players didn't make that list that I think could actually take a jump next year. All that and more. Let's get into this first segment. And I want to throw up the huddle film while we do this. I'm going to put that up over here so you guys can watch as we start to talk about this. You can watch Amari Latimer. You can watch some of that film. Let's start with who Amari Latimer is. Okay, Amari Latimer, 2026 four-star running back. Big time target for the Badgers. Okay, we got the film up here. You guys should be able to watch it if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on the podcast, that's cool too. We're going to talk through it. Huge target, 5'11", 210 pounds coming out of Georgia. Composite four-star back. This is the guy. This is the guy they've zeroed in on, and I don't know if they're going to get him. I have no intel on that one, but I will point out that 247 Evan Flood logged a futurecast, a crystal ball, for the Badgers to land Amari Latimer. Why is he such a big target for the Badgers? What does he do really well? Give me 1 second. Excuse me. By the way, dealing with allergies, so please bear with me, but we're going to get through this. So Amari Latimer, you can see it. Really patient runner. Physical, downhill, nasty, lowers the shoulder. One of the things that's really impressive, you can see he's running in a type of scheme that Coach Grimes is going to run at Wisconsin anyway, so there's scheme fit here between the tackles. Really nice patience and vision for a high school running back. He sees holes. He has the ability to jump cut, get horizontally to find the hole, and then press it north and south. Again, physical at the point of contact. You're going to see that a lot in this film. He's going to run through people, but also maintain that contact balance. A lot of younger running backs, they don't keep their feet moving. They don't keep moving through contact. It trips them up. So great, they're physical. They run somebody over, but then they fall over and they get 4 yards. Latimer has great balance. In fact, some of the contact balance that you see in a Darian Dupree, Latimer has that as well. Right there on that film, you see that quick jump cut, that horizontal jump cut, sees the hole, presses it north and south. There is a ton here to like. Ready body already. He's 210 pounds. This is the type of player that, much like Dylan Jones and Darian Dupree, you could get him in the program and not be shocked if he plays right away. There is a reason the offer list for Amari Latimer includes Georgia, Florida, Florida State. You can go down the list. He is a big-time offer list. Big-time offer list because he's a four-star running back. Enough speed. If he finds a crease, he's enough speed to take it to the house. But again, it's the vision. It's the physical ability. It is, and there you see him playing linebacker. We just talked physical ability. Almost on cue. He also plays linebacker. So he understands the physical nature of the game. Again, here taking that snap from center, and then really quick movement. You know what he reminds me of? And Badger fans, if you're listening, put it in the chat. He reminds me of Corey Clement. And I went back before I did this video. I watched high school film of Clement, who obviously was a Badger great, ended up with the Eagles. There's a lot of similarities here between him and, in my opinion, Corey. Now, Corey, I think, was a little shiftier, a little nimbler, and I think Latimer runs with a little more power, probably a little more physical ability, but very similar, in my opinion. Body type, balance, downhill running style between the tackles, quick, nimble feet, not burners, but enough speed to really succeed at this level. I think this is a stud. This is a blue chip in every aspect running back that the Badgers are in on. They're one of the main contenders for him. Again, 247 has logged a crystal ball for the Badgers for Amari Latimer. So we know that they're at least in this running. This is, I know for a fact, one of their priority targets in this class. And again, here you just see the ability to break tackles. And then once he gets there, it's north-south. He doesn't waste time. He doesn't mess around. There's very little wasted movement, which is one of the notes I put in my kind of report watching film. Very little wasted movement. Gets north and south quick, breaks tackles, and then again has enough speed to turn a 10-yard run into a 20-yard run, a 30-yard run, a 40-yard run. Big time target for the Badgers. Also, several clips of him in the pass game. I don't think he's going to be an elite receiving weapon out of the backfield necessarily, but he shows hands and the ability to get downfield and make some adjustments on the route. So I think there's some ability there as well to be a true 3-down back. I love, again, that he plays linebacker. That's just a football guy, somebody who's going to hit people, and you got to be a certain type of dude to be playing both ways at a high level, especially when both of those ways are physical spots. He's not playing like receiver and corner where maybe he's not getting hit a lot. He's playing linebacker and running back, where he's either getting hit or he's hitting all the time. There's just some intangibles that are required to be able to do that kind of thing. Again, here he's coming out in the slot. You're going to see him go in motion before the snap. There's an ability to get out and at least catch the ball, make himself available, and then after the catch, he's hard to bring down. So a ton to like here. Why else is this so important? Outside of it's a 4-star running back, it's because the Badgers didn't get a running back last year. That's the other reason this is so important. You look at the depth chart next year. So obviously we're talking 2026 class year. Latimer has another year of high school left. You talk about the depth chart next year, you're looking at a junior Darian Dupree, a redshirt sophomore Dylan Jones, a senior Cade Yakimelli, a redshirt sophomore Gideon Atuka, and that's basically it. Now, you can reload in the portal. Obviously, we know that running back's probably one of those spots that's a little easier than offensive line, defensive line to find people in the portal. But that depth chart, you go into next year, you're going to start looking a little thin, which is why you got to reload in this class. Running back is a huge priority in the 2026 class because of what you didn't do last year. And I think the staff was okay with that because they had just landed those 3 running backs in the class prior with Dylan Jones and Dupree and Atuka. But that puts a lot of focus on this year's class. I think you could use 2 running backs in this class, but you got to get a guy. You got to get a dude. And right here, watching film, this is a dude. Amari Latimer, again, reminds me so much of Corey Clement. So much. And just the way he runs between the tackles, his physical ability, his kind of shiftiness, his ability to catch the ball a little bit, just the build and the size. He looks like Corey Clement to me. And that's an NFL back. That's what Corey Clement is. He's an NFL back. And that's what you need to keep reloading in the system, especially with Jeff Grimes and what he wants to do offensively for the Badgers. Let's throw a couple comments up here. Robert Sorensen, man, great friend of the show, says, I'm okay with starting a Georgia pipeline. Was one of the reasons I like Travis Burgess as well. Dude, I loved Burgess, Robert. I totally agree. Totally agree. Greg Linskum. Oh, this is a great point. So Greg brings up an excellent point. Please come and play with your brother. We'd love to have you in Mantown. What did the Badgers do this offseason at slot cornerback? They added Amari Latimer's older brother. Gamir Latimer came into the portal. And by the way, not just coming into the portal as like, hey, it's great we have your brother. He looks like he's going to be the starting slot corner. That looks like a home run addition in the portal. And he might be able to help you. He's certainly not going to hurt, right? It's certainly not going to hurt having his older brother on the roster. So that could be the best portal pickup you had all offseason. Not only is he going to be probably your starting slot cornerback coach Paul Haynes is raving about him, but he might get you this help get you this 4-star running back out of Georgia as well. That could be a tremendous pickup for the Badgers. I love that. That's a great point. And Raul says, kid looks sharp. Yeah, this dude's talented, man. This is a really talented running back. I know Justin's talked about him on the show as well. He really likes him. He's just a stud. And if you were to tier out the last several running backs we've gotten with Dylan Jones, Darian Dupree, if you were to land at Amari Latimer, I think he's right in that group. I would slot him. Gosh, I really love Dylan Jones. I would slot him right with Dylan Jones and both slightly ahead of Darian Dupree. And they're all blue chip guys. That's what you got to do. You got to keep stacking that talent. All right, we're going to verse again. I just really love this guy. Let's stop sharing this film here. Let's get back to where we were. That's a money type player. That is absolutely a money type player for the Badgers, and they got to be able to land him. They got to be able to lock him down this cycle. Speaking of money, let's talk about our incredible friends over at Monarch Money. If you ever get stuck trying to figure out where all of your funds are going, where all of your extra cash is going, I have been there. Monarch Money is incredible. It is for you. This is almost like a personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control for all your finances. And that's something I've needed. So I've signed up for this. I use Monarch Money. It is insanely gorgeous. The dashboard, how they lay everything out, it is super simple to use. You don't need a financial background anymore to understand your finances with Monarch Money. You get crazy insights. Listen, some of the insights aren't always nice. I learned how much I am spending at gas station snack food. It wasn't pretty. My wife learned how much she's spending at like coffee houses and on coffee. It also wasn't pretty. But Monarch paints that out so you can get a better financial picture and understand what you got to do to take control of your finances so you can start building for your future. Easy to collaborate. My wife and I already have done our budgets on it. We've seen our spending. And right now they're going to give you one more, right? They're going to give you a great offer to get started, to help build your wealth, build your future over at Monarch Money. It's incredible. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LockedOnCollege at monarchmoney.com. You get 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LockedOnCollege for half off your first year. They are absolutely incredible. All right, let's jump back into this. Let's power rank. I want to get into power ranking the Badgers basketball roster because I think we're at the point where we're waiting on one more roster addition, but we have a pretty good idea of who's on this roster. And I thought it'd be fun. Usually Greg Gard has about an 8-man rotation with the occasional 9th guy thrown in there. So if you had to power rank right now, that basketball rotation 1 through 8, who are those 8 players? Who's on the fringe? Who's just on the outside looking in? Who is those top 3 guys off the bench? How would you rank the starters, right? The 2 guys coming back, hopefully. We don't fully know with John Blackwell yet, although I think we'd all be pretty shocked if he follows through with his NBA commitment and if he stays in the draft. I think we'd all be pretty shocked there. But let's assume Blackwell comes back. Let's power rank this roster. I'm going to start with number 1 is John Blackwell. Love Nolan Winter. We got to see the jump in Nolan Winter's game, which I think is going to be there before we can anoint him as number 1. Listen, Blackwell last year had a tremendous season. The efficiency fell off a little bit, but the efficiency fell off because he took on a much bigger playmaking role. He became one of your lead guards, one of your lead ball handlers, still trying to defend some of the other opponent's better players. He was still really, really good last year, still showed some of his ability to get in the paint, some key offensive rebounds. From a playmaking standpoint, he took a step up. From a scoring standpoint, he took a step up, shouldered a huge load when Max Clement went out. This guy was a Iron Man, just playing 37 minutes a game, 38 minutes a game when Clement went out. Never complaining, culture guy. I think he checks every box. He's a dog. He'll try to take the last shot. He'll fight for offensive rebounds. Could he get better defensively? Yes. I think that's the next thing that he has to do, because physically he can do it. He's 6'4", 6'3". He's got a grown man's body, long arms, athletic enough, not vertically athletic, but horizontally. His foot quickness is more than enough to stay with a lot of wings and guards in the Big Ten. I think that's his next step, but he's a stud. There's a reason he's like at the NBA draft combine trying to get. He's a borderline NBA guy right now. I don't think he's quite ready for it. I think he's going to have to come back. He's going to have to improve on his efficiency. He's number 1 for me. I think he's a stud. He's a total stud. Number 2, Nolan Winter. I don't think there should be any surprises here. I don't think. But let me know. Maybe you have Nick Boyd or someone else higher than Winter or Blackwell. That's fair. And again, this is just my list. That doesn't make it the correct list. It's just my list. I encourage all discussions, all disagreements, because those things are awesome. Disagreements are great. That's how we get smarter. That's how we get better. That's what this channel is all about. So throw your power list into the chat as well. Number 2, I got Nolan Winter. His efficiency numbers last year were incredible. I mean, I'm talking 98th percentile in some offensive analytics, really good defensively too. He just now has to do it on 30 minutes instead of 20. That's the only question with Nolan Winter. What does it look like when we need you for 32 minutes a game? What does it look like when we need you to score 17 points a game consistently? I think he's going to check that box. He's too talented not to. Coming from his freshman year to our sophomore year, he put on 10, 15 pounds. He's probably going to put a little more weight on this year. Nominally, he's going to be your starting 5. I think at times he might have trouble with the physicality that he has to deal with. But I also think if you're going to give him a big that's really physical that he struggles with, that big is going to have to guard him on the other end, right? That big is going to have to extend. And that's not going to be easy for a larger 5 to guard Nolan Winter on the perimeter. I think he's in line for a really big year. The efficiency numbers are going to come down because it's unrealistic to expect what he did last year to be what he does next year with a bigger workload. So expect maybe a slight dip in some of the shooting percentages, some of the points per possession stuff. But I think he's going to be a potential all Big Ten type guy next year. And he's the type of guy that has NBA upside. So I got him number 2 on my list. I got Blackwell, Winter. Then it's Nick Boyd for me. Number 3 is Nick Boyd. The veteran point guard has played on a Final Four team. Gives you 3 to 4 assists and 3 to 4 rebounds a game. Really nice assist turnover ratio. Can get in the paint, has some toughness to him. A solid perimeter defender. I think he's the crown jewel of the transfer portal class that Greg Gard is bringing in. And I think his impact goes bigger than himself. He's like the master chef in the kitchen that just makes everyone else around him. Makes the sous chef better, makes the the salad person better, makes the apps guy better. I don't really know how kitchens work. I just assume that's the different positions on the line. I think it's called the line. But Boyd, as this veteran point guard that has mastery of offense, is a great pick and roll player, a phenomenal pick and roll player because he understands the timing of it. He's been through those situations. I think he makes Winter better. I think he makes Blackwell better. I think he makes the bench better. I think he makes the shooters they brought in Rapp and Rhodey better. I think he's just a all-around guy. He's number 3 on my list. So I got Blackwell, Winter, Boyd. Then I got Andrew Rhodey. I think Rhodey's my 4 on this list because of his versatility. He's a really good passer. He can also shoot. He's got enough size to be versatile defensively. He's coming from Virginia. So those defensive principles are going to be really well schooled inside of what he's already doing. I would love for him to be maybe a little more athletic, maybe finish a little better at the rim. I think those are a couple of question marks you have with Andrew Rhodey, but he does a lot of things really well. He's the like peanut butter guy, right? You can just spread him all over and he fits in a lot of spots. He's a pretty good passer, a pretty good ball handler, a pretty good shooter. He's got pretty good size, pretty good defensive versatility. He's the peanut butter guy on this team. You can spread him all over and he can make an impact in a lot of different ways. I think that's a really nice pickup for the Badgers coming out of Virginia. Also an in-state kid. Again, I think there's a little bit of an intangible value in bringing those players that grew up in the state, that know the program, that care about it. Veteran players, played a lot of basketball, has played in a real level with Virginia in the ACC. So he's my number 4. Number 5, I got Austin Rapp, the Portland transfer coming over. Probably going to be your 4. Rapp is a guy with shooting range, really, really volume shooter, is going to look to shoot, is going to look to space it, is going to look to shoot in transition. That's going to be his role, space the floor. I don't know if he's going to give you a lot else this year. Now, as your 5th guy where I have him, I don't know if that's a problem, but I don't think you're going to get a ton of rebounding, a ton of defense from him. But I think he can do a lot of shooting, a lot of floor spacing. He will get shots up. He's more athletic than I think people are going to give him credit for. So he can get to the rim a little bit if you close out too hard. He can play in transition. But he's my number 5 on this list. Let me see what you guys got in the comments as well. Let's see. Yeah, Bo Dragon says Winter will get worn down. Greg Linskum says, I think Boyd should be number 1. Big time pickup. Listen, I can vibe with that. You get a veteran point guard who's tough, can get to the rim, gives you 4 rebounds a game, good assist to turnover ratio. I can vibe with that. I don't know if he can score like Winter or Blackwell, but as a true point guard, maybe that's not his role. I love it, Greg. I can vibe with that. Now let's get into the bench because this, I think, is almost where it gets really interesting. And certainly you can rearrange that top 5 if you want. At number 6, I got Braden Carrington. And I really struggled going back and forth with Carrington and Jack Janicki. I just think Carrington at 6'5", 210-ish gives you a little more length, a little more athleticism, a little more physicality. He's played a lot of ball. He's a little more experienced. I think he's going to be able to come in and handle situations a little bit better. This bench needs work, though. This bench needs a couple guys to step up because if Braden Carrington is your 6th man, I don't know if that's enough scoring coming off the bench. It's my biggest worry. I think some people say the backup 5 is the biggest worry, the 5 is the biggest worry. I just think the bench in general. I worry about how deep this team is. I got Carrington at 6. I'm hopeful that some of the younger guys can maybe take a step, but we'll see. Number 7, I had Jack Janicki, who is really the primary bench guy that is coming back this year. I think he was a redshirt freshman last year. There is definitely room for growth here. He needs to take another step up, though. He needs to be a little cleaner with his handle. He needs to be a little more consistent with his shot from 3 and from the free throw line. And he needs to be a little better defensively. But I like the intangibles. He's a good passer. He understands the game. I think the shot mechanics are good enough that he should be a better shooter than he is. So I got him at number 7. Number 8, and again, remember, we're doing the top 8 because that's typically the gray guard type rotation. I got Zach Kinzinger. And Kinzinger, the freshman coming in, 4-star kid. I think some people might say, wow, I don't know. I think he's a bit like Brad Davidson, where he's going to come in more college ready than most freshmen. He's not a toothpick. The body will support it. He's 6'3"-ish. He's big enough. He can really shoot the ball. I think he understands the game. Went to saw him live in person, talked to his coach. He has a really nice feel, probably because he comes from a basketball family. His older brothers are all hoopers. His dad's a hooper. Was a role player when he first started in high school. I think he's going to be okay stepping into that role player role, shoot the ball, play hard defense. I have Kinzinger 8. Let me know what y'all think, because coming up, we are going to talk about the few players that didn't make that top 8 and which one of those might be poised to make the biggest step up. Spoiler for me, it's another freshman coming in this class. We're going to talk about that next on Locked On Badgers, but first, a quick second for our incredible friends of the show. All right, let's talk about some of the players that didn't make my power rankings, my 1 through 8. And again, it's a very fluid list. I have Blackwell, Winter, Boyd, Rhodey, Rapp, Carrington, Janicki, and Kinzinger as my 1 through 8 right now. I don't know. That's where I'm at. Again, doesn't mean it's the right list. It's just my list. I would be very curious to see yours, and we'll go from that. Let me talk about a couple players that I think could make a big step up. So the first one is Alexis Bieliauskas. He's another player they signed in this portal class, 6'9", can really shoot the ball, gives you a little more size in the front court, good offensive rebounder. I think he's probably my number 9 right now as a guy who can give you some minutes at the 3, the 4. I don't think he's going to give you much at the 5. I don't think he's big enough, Bieliauskas, but I think he can shoot a little bit, give you some rebounding at the 3 and the 4. Let me give you the guy that if somebody here takes a big step up, it might be this guy. I'm going to give you Will Garlock. Okay, freshman coming into this class. Here's why here's why I think he probably needs a year, and then I'm going to tell you why maybe he doesn't. So he missed time this year with an injury. He was sick a little bit. He played his high school, again, I went and saw him twice. His high school played a lot of 2-3 zone, which makes me a little nervous for him to be able to come in and pick up the man principles that Greg Gard teaches, because they would just put him in the middle. He's a center. They would put him in the middle. But here's the thing. What does this team really need right now? Like, look at the roster. What do they really need? They need a 5. They need a backup 5. What position does Will Garlock play? He's a 5. And he's not a quasi 5. He's a true 5. There's guys out there that are like quasi 5s, like a Ben Carlson. Maybe, a former Badger recruit. He's 6'9", 6'10", and maybe you put him in there because he's got kind of size, but he's really more of a 4, masquerading as a 5. Garlock's a 5 all the way. He's a legit 6'11", 7 foot. Like, seeing him in person, his size is real. And he moves pretty well. That's the thing. He's a 7-footer with pretty good movement skills. He's pretty quick. He's pretty light on his feet for his size. He will block some shots. He will be a bit of a rim threat. Like, in terms of, if you set the pick and roll, dive to the rim, finish the lob, he can do that. He gives you something. The key when you're looking at the end of the bench, like, who can squeeze out 5 minutes, who can come in and give you 10 minutes, really the key is who gives you something no one else on this roster gives you. How can you fit into the puzzle as an end of the rotation guy and do something that nobody else does? Garlock has size on this roster that nobody else is going to have. He has some movement skills and a little bit of ability to affect shots at the rim, to rebound, to finish lobs that I don't think anyone else on this roster has. And that's why if he comes in and it clicks, by the way, talking to him, I really like him. I think this matters to him. I think he's coming in with the right mindset. If he comes in and it clicks, if he can click defensively pretty quick, and I'm not sure if it will. In fact, I think it's probably unlikely, just because how difficult it is to go from freshman to the Big Ten, especially after a year where you played a lot of 2-3 zone. But if it does click, man, he could carve out a role, because this team needs that. This team needs that skill set that he has, that no one else on the roster, quite frankly, can deliver. Now, maybe Gard gets someone else from the portal. It's possible. But right now, he would be a great fit if he could figure it out his first year. A couple other guys that are interesting, Hayden Jones, right? The player from New Zealand coming in. I could see him taking a jump just because he's 6'4". He's got kind of a college-ready body already. Pretty good shooter. I could see maybe potentially he gets into that 2 and that 3. You have Jack Robeson. Robeson's interesting. Freshman last year, didn't play a ton, but can really, really shoot the ball. He's 6'5", 6'6"-ish, so he's got some length. Great range, lefty stroke, can really, really rifle the shot. Is he big enough? Is he ready to play defensively? Those are kind of the questions I'll have with Robeson. And then you have Zach Greppy. Greppy came in last year as a freshman, 6'10", 6'11"-ish, a little smaller than Garlock. Pretty good passer. I think he has a decent feel. Will he be ready? He's another one that could help out at the back of 5. So let me know. Definitely curious what your list is. That's power ranking plus a couple players that I think could step up into it. Let's see if we have any other comments to kind of finish this off. Yeah, Greg Linskum says, who's your backup big man? That's why I went with Garlock as a guy, Greg, that could potentially step into this role and make a difference, because I don't think they have one. I don't think they have one right now. Now, they're still in the portal. I think they're going to add another body. They're going to try to add a backup 5, and maybe it makes all this moot. But if they don't find a guy, or if they don't find a guy that can play this year in the portal at that backup 5 spot, I think it's got to be Garlock. Like, Winter's going to be the 5. I think Rapp is too light for that spot. I think Bialuskis would struggle at that spot. I think you got to hope Garlock or Greppy can give you a few minutes there. And by a few minutes, I mean like 10, because you can't have Winter playing 40 minutes at the 5. You just can't. I mean, Steven Crowell couldn't do that, and Crowell was a true center. So you need somebody that can give him at least 10 minutes, and then hope it doesn't happen, but people get hurt. What if Winter gets hurt? You need somebody that can step in and at least keep the train wheels from completely falling off. I don't know if they have that. That's why, man, Xavier Amos, if he would have came back, would have made a huge difference, but he didn't. Bo Dragon says, so are we just going to shoot threes nonstop from all 5 spots and be soft inside forever? We are, to the first part of your question, are we just going to shoot threes from all 5 spots? Yes, we are. Are we going to be soft inside forever? I don't think we were soft last year. Again, people know what I think of Steven Crowell. I think Crowell is a good positional defender. I've said that the entire year. Post players 5s didn't find it super easy to post up Steven Crowell. Now, were we blocking shots at the rim? No, we weren't. That wasn't Steven Crowell's game. But I've said a bunch of times if that was his game and he could do that along with everything else he did, he would have been in the NBA 2 years ago. So are we going to be soft inside this year? We're going to be softer. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We're going to be more skilled, probably, potentially. Nolan Winter at the 5 is going to bring a different type of game, but are we going to be a little softer? Yeah, because you're losing a center that played essentially 3 straight years and never missed a game. That was just bigger and more experienced down there. So I think you are going to be softer. You're losing Xavier Amos as well. That at least came in and gave you a little bit of athleticism at that point. It's going to be a loss with Steven Crowell from that standpoint. Jeremy Kosman says rebounding is going to be an issue. It very well could be. Now, I will say this. I think some of the other pieces you added, a guy like, for example, Bialuskis is a pretty good rebounder. I think maybe that's one of the reasons you targeted him to come off the bench and maybe help you. And then Nick Boyd as a guard. Nick Boyd is a good rebounding guard. So you're going to need a little more team rebounding, people coming together to help out. And even then, I think there's going to be teams that probably just beat you up on the glass. Which it is what it is. You're just going to have to outscore those teams probably. Greg Linskum says, I think we're going to miss Big Steve next year. I think so too. Like I've been saying, I think I'll stop beating that horse, but I think what he had done here, what he did here, what he accomplished here, I think it was overlooked a little bit. But that being said, Winter could be a really good 5 next year. And this team is going to have a lot of spacing. They're going to shoot the ball really well. I think offensively, we're going to be fine. Defensively and, boxing some of those bigger 5s out, I think that's maybe where this issue is going to crop up more. Anyway, I do appreciate every single one of you for tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning into Locked On Badgers, being part of this community, part of the show. Really do appreciate you. We have a bunch of stuff coming up this week. We got Coach Matt coming up. We got Curtis Holland coming up. I think we have a recruit coming up, a guest. We have a bunch of stuff coming up this week. So really do appreciate you. Hope you stick around. And we will definitely talk to all of you later.